the gospel of e-commerce and entrepreneurship by drawing upon what I had learned in China. In a country where safety and security were such a concern, could those lessons apply? Just a few years earlier, Colombia was considered a failed state. Narco-trafficking had done huge damage to the country, destroying the economy and trust in government institutions. But at that moment, I finally understood the true role of e-commerce in emerging markets. E-commerce had succeeded in China precisely because the economic and legal infrastructure of the country was weak when the Internet was introduced. China lacked the economic, political, and legal institutions necessary for commerce to thrive, and Internet companies and their online communities had stepped in to fill the void. And why wouldn't that be true elsewhere? From Bogota to Shanghai, from Mumbai to Lagos? The weaker the institutions, the greater the opportunity for e-commerce to take root. And just as e-commerce entrepreneurs in China had faced and solved logistical, payment, and trust issues, Colombian entrepreneurs could use the Internet to address local concerns, including safety and security. And as a business community addresses these issues, e-commerce blossoms, creating new opportunities for entrepreneurs, multinationals, and customers alike. Does this notion seem Pollyanna-ish? Absent the example of China, it might. But I had a front-row seat during China's e-commerce revolution, so it's clear to me that other countries are following suit, transforming both their economies and the way retail is conducted around the world. The boom will affect brands, retailers, providers of logistics, and financial institutions in highly disruptive ways that will become fully apparent only over time. Just look at where China is today. In 2000, when I joined Alibaba, just as it moved out of founder Jack Ma's apartment, skeptics told me that e-commerce would never work in China. The reasons they cited were many. Payment infrastructure was inefficient, credit card use was nearly non-existent, logistics infrastructure was poor, engineering and management talent was concentrated in Silicon Valley. And, most important, they said, Chinese shoppers would never trust online merchants enough to buy products online. Fast forward less than 20 years, and the figures are staggering. China has now become the largest e-commerce market in the world. In 2016, in a single 24-hour period, Alibaba's consumer websites alone handled more than $17.8 billion in transactions, more than the total combined online sales of Black Friday and Cyber Monday in the United States. E-commerce in China now represents 14% of total retail sales in the country, compared to 8% in the United States. By 2020, e-commerce in China will reach an estimated 21.5% of total retail sales in the country. And this is with only half of China's population online. We can only imagine how big the market will become as the rest of China moves online. Since Alibaba's $25 billion initial public offering, IPO, in 2014, the largest in history for any company, China has received most of the headlines about e-commerce. But the China experience has triggered an investment wave in e-commerce in India, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and Africa. This audiobook will take you through these emerging megamarkets to show where they started, where they stand now, and where they likely are going. To give the discussion historical context, I will begin in the United States at the American frontier of the 1800s, when retail took root in the great emerging market of its time. Part of the story is how retail's gradual evolution in the United States made for a relatively smooth transition from traditional commerce to e-commerce, which the giants eBay and Amazon dominated in the early days. The other reason to start with the United States is that the early history of e-commerce in today's emerging markets has been one of failed attempts to apply U.S. business models to developing countries. Understanding how the U.S. experience skewed early attempts to introduce e-commerce to emerging markets can help us understand why e-commerce in the developing world, and brands and companies there, is growing in a different direction. In Chapter 2, we head to China, the biggest e-commerce market of all. To understand how China's deep cultural roots have led to a more social approach to e-commerce, we will visit some of China's remote villages. Then I'll explain how, after years of Maoism, the opening of China's economy triggered the conditions.